My all-time favorite Klay moment was when he went for 60 through 3 quarters. He did not come to practice the day before. He woke up late, and now the way our fine system works when you're late for practice is it's not that much more if you miss as opposed to if you're late. And so Klay's like, oh, I'm late, go back to bed. Don't come to practice. And then the next day, it's like his way of making it right. That has to be my all-time favorite moment because that is actually Klay and his attitude. It's a big you. Like, yep, was I wrong? Possibly, but this is how I'm going to make just a big you.
Dropping a 60-piece on 11 dribbles in 3 quarters is probably one of the greatest accomplishments in NBA history. And on that night, Klay Thompson somehow just made it look so easy. Well, apart from that historic performance, we can't deny the fact that Klay has been instrumental in the Golden State Warriors' multiple championship runs during the last decade. And there's no doubt that he has deserved every single penny out of the $222 million plus that he has earned throughout his career, because we all know this dude always delivers when it counts most. However, some people out there think that he's not performing at the level that the Warriors are paying him for, and labeled him as one of the most grossly overpaid players in NBA history. I mean, in a recent article released by HoopsHype.com, they ranked the most overpaid players of all time. And when you scroll down to the 3rd spot, you'll find Klay's name there written in bold letters, just underneath the likes of John Wall and Gordon Hayward. Now, in their defense, HoopsHype.com says that the list that they have made with Klay in it isn't just a shoot-from-the-hip kind of thing, as they actually use their homemade metric called the real value metric to accurately gauge the real market value of a certain player over time. They argue that while Klay's inclusion in the list was a total surprise, the advanced analytics didn't really fancy his game, and they said that even during the 2015-16 season, where he averaged 22 a ball game as part of the 73-9 Warriors, the analytics say that Klay was barely a top 50 player at that time, which is absolutely crazy. On top of this, they also mentioned Klay's injuries as one of the main reasons why he got included in the list, and according to their own calculations, Klay's real value was just $8.7 million last season, which means that he was overpaid by around $21.3 million. Anyways, lots of players around the league didn't agree on this take, and Klay's former teammate Juan Toscano Anderson came to his defense by tweeting that you can't just disrespect a 4-time champ like that before saying that he now hates the internet. I mean, JTA was right on the money on this one, because aside from being a 4-time champ, Klay has also been a 5-time All-Star, a 2-time All-NBA third team, an NBA All-Defensive second team, not to mention that he's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. And with this being said, I don't see any reason behind his inclusion in that list. And in those 4 championships, Klay was not just any other guy or a scrub who came off the bench. I mean, he's one half of the greatest shooting backcourt in NBA history. And he's a major contributor in every season run and every finals that they went to. So I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around this ridiculous take. Anyways, if you take a look back at the top 10 players on that list, the reason why they're in there is because most of them did not suit up for many games for the teams they signed big deals with. I mean, for the sake of comparison, let's take the case of John Wall. Initially, Wall made $24 million as part of his 4-year rookie deal, which went up to a 5-year, $84 million deal right before he signed a handsome 4-year max extension worth $171 million in 2017. Now, during that time frame, Wall has just played a full season once as he got riddled with a ton of injuries year after year. But despite that, he was making a lot of dough regardless. Then, in the 2017-18 and 2018-19 seasons, Wall's career started to plummet when he played less than 50 games in those 2 seasons. But for some reason, Wall continued to earn a ton of money, which is partly due to how his contract was crafted. so much so that he actually earned $38 million while playing 0 games during the pandemic season. And to top it all off, the Rockets bought out his contract worth $126.2 million in the 2020-21 season, where he only suited up for just 40 games. I mean, this is beyond being overpaid. This is highway robbery in broad daylight if you ask me. Now, if you sum it all up, John Wall has actually earned around $53 million more than Klay, which is pretty weird considering he has only played 647 games in 11 seasons. I mean, Klay on the other hand though, has appeared in 716 regular season games alone, not including the playoffs, the play-in tournaments, and finals games that he took part in for the last 10 seasons while competing at the highest level. Now, if you observe the pattern on that list, most players in the top 10 were either all-stars or promising players that got derailed with injuries and never recovered like Chandler Parsons, Gordon Hayward, and Kevin Love. While Klay had his own fair share of injuries and earned $84 million out of it, he's not washed as most people claimed him to be. I mean, even though he's not the player that he once was, as he lost a bit of a step especially on the defensive end, he's clearly showing signs that he can regain his old all-star form with the way he ended last season. According to the real value metric, Klay's real worth last season was just $8.7 million, and I think this is where the analytics have miscalculated his real value. See, Klay averaged almost 22 points a ball game last season, while shooting 43.6% from the field and above 40% from 3. And on top of this, he helped the Dubs to reach as far as the Western Conference semifinals in the postseason. So, to me, I really think that he's worth more than the $8.7 million which the metric projected him to be. Now lastly, I think the Dubs didn't overpay him, but rather, they just gave him the X amount of money that he truly deserves, based on his effort, service, and loyalty to the team. I mean, when Joe Lacob bought the Warriors before the year Klay got drafted in 2010, the total valuation of the Golden State Warriors was just $450 million. Now, as they revolutionized the league and won multiple championships along the way, their value kept increasing as the years went by, and that meant more money was coming in as well. And fast forward 13 years later, they are now the league's most valuable franchise with a net value of $7 billion. Now obviously, Steph Curry has a lot to do with why the Dubs team value spiked to an all-time high. But on the flip side, I think he wouldn't have been able to win all those championships alone and be the global superstar that he is right now without the help of Draymond Green and, of course, his splash brother Klay Thompson. All I'm saying is that Klay had as much impact as Steph in terms of winning, and I think the Dubs are just sharing with him his piece of their financial pie, a pie in which he contributed to and helped to grow in the first place. In other words, the Dubs didn't really overpay Klay, as they're just giving him his due financially. So what do you guys think about this take? Is Klay really overpaid, or have the analytics guys gone overboard on this one? Let me know your thoughts by dropping your comments below.